I would have to agree. They're probably under the same mindset of Mirage that sure, Villa is a great map for TSM, but it's going to give them more opportunities to play at an even playing field against TSM. Then they're most likely going to lose their opponent's map pick and then play on a decider of Cafe, which isn't a bad map for reality TV, historically speaking. So this could just go down to a genuine best of 3 series, unless reality TV just pulls off some major heroics on, for example, Bank, or we just see a complete upset here on Villa, which I feel like it's hard to say upset because it's TSM they're playing up against, right?
Like, and plus, this is reality TV's map pick too, which you're again supposed to win usually in a best of 3. And I will argue that Villa has always been one of their best maps. Like, yeah, they love Border. They've never, ever lost Border. Villa is up there, too. Now, we take a look at the bans. TSM, still a 100% ban rate with Ying. They just simply do not want to deal with her. And Reality TV are another team that do like to bring her. So the ban makes sense. Dokkaebi coming out from Reality TV. I mean, they are heavy roamers, especially on Villa. They don't want to get bogged down by those phone calls. Valkyrie, very normal. Solus makes sense. This is a great map for her. So all the bans at the end of the day, very, I would consider grounded. However, TSM have Iana back.
That can at least allow a little more nade spam and more comfort for TSM once they are on that attacking half. But for now, Reality TV will get to use that operator in their first half of attacking on Villa. Aviator up on the docket first for TSM, and they're getting the option to run a zombie. So that can greatly bolster not only their extensions that they might want to do in the early round, the triple wall area near Master and Statue is a great example, but also, a good example is over by the map's table. Having a keep barrier placed there, having this really nice one-way, making it super challenging for RTV to execute if they're going in for a skull take, which is the norm of Villa. You see almost every Aviator execute eventually dwindle down to a execute from that skull doorway, and also someone lurking over by Study, hence the second keep barrier deployed near that vicinity to make your life over in Study much more simplistic when dealing with that attack.
However, Snake's looking to make the attackers' lives more difficult, prepping a run out. The drone coming in from Mr. B, they spot him. So Snakes might have a tough time making his way out of Master, just up and takes the fight, but misses the shots, and he gets away safely. Merc covering his retreat will allow the alibi to slip away. Now Achieved, really the only player left on that side of the map, unless we have the alibi re-engage. So is Merc. So even though TSM have fallen off of Master, they're still really interested in holding this side of the map.
Yeah, nice Kiba deploy to actually be able to re-engage and not worry about that boar cutoff. Now, Giddy's got to waste a load of time to now get a bit closer towards that area and actually, hold the cutoff angle. The rest of Reality TV now entering in the building as well, forcing back the rest of those roamers starting over in Statuary. But they've already burned through half of the drones that RTV were starting the round with. So this roam has not been bad whatsoever for TSM, despite not winning an opening gunfight.
Kiba's starting to be dealt with. Hat will send out the first. A Flores drone in response to destroy the shield top red, so Snake's position slightly more exposed, but luckily again, those Kibas are still in play, and of course replaceable because Merc can charge them up as the round progresses. But he has thrown all of those he has available onto the field, so no more utility for him. He can easily just play off his gun, but the attack does succeed in forcing the alibi to fall back. He's now downstairs, along with Achieved. That might be who Giddy is tasked with finding.
Just saw him hop on a drone a second ago, just double checking to see where these defenders could be playing at underneath, and also breaking a bit of extra utility that's left over by red stairs. A pesky ADS could just be zapped away, allowing the rest of the offense to charge in from that direction. Checks that it's clear, and now RTV can begin to start that default execute we just talked about. But again, you still have these roamers playing underneath in that first floor. Maybe a flank could happen if RTV just end up becoming a bit too focused on the site execute and kind of forget that all the roamers have not receded.
Giddy and Snake just on opposite sides of the wall, opposite sides of the room from each other. Achieved has since rotated back upstairs, so if he throws out the C4, it won't be from below, but the seconds are bleeding. They're ticking down. 25 remaining for Reality TV to get an execute through. Giddy has pushed out of living all the way up to main stairs. Through the barbed wire he goes, but Merc has the entry, a follow-up from Bolo before Giddy responds, looking for the Azami, misses the initial shot, but connects on the re-engage. Back to even 3 versus 3, but Achieved holding down the site, claps Tristan, and it's all over. 1v3, 3 seconds remaining. Mr. B can do nothing as TSM take round 1 in stride.
And those Toxic Babes just spent up so much time for Reality TV. Their only option was to try to Hail Mary and start working their way across the map and heading over from that bar hallway, heading down into 90 towards the bomb site, and they walked right into Bolo's line of sight. And sure, he did get instantly traded by Giddy, who found a really nice double kill walking up main stairs, but that still gave more room to breathe for your defenders that are playing over by bar. Now they can solely focus in on that one objective as no one's trying to rotate last second back over into maps. So really well done for TSM to once again solidify in the Aviator bomb site, similar to what they did against Mirage, except it was a dire funnel in through Skull doorway and the opposing door that's right next to it that also leads into the same bomb site, and it was just Gasher that was left alive on the smoke at the very beginning of this broadcast fight. Now, it feels like forever.
Oh yeah, that was at we started at noon,
and now it is just shy of 7 East. Yeah,
absolutely, we've gone for 7 hours. Could there be 3 more in store for us, John?
Potentially. Maybe. I mean, yeah, RTV kept that round fairly close for a good chunk of time, especially when Giddy again walked up and got a 2K.
Yeah, especially with how close the games have been in general.
Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, TSM and Mirage, technically closer than Reality TV, since Reality TV won Border pretty dominantly, and then lost Cafe pretty dominantly, and then Map 3 was close. So TSM have played more rounds in total, but still, both games were barn burners, as the desk put it. But now Trophy being the site, TSM have an AVG roam. Bolo and Snake are the ones putting it together. Again, the Kiba barriers in play, thanks to the Azami being oh so self-sufficient. Snake just waiting around the corner, holding the crossfire, and ensuring that Reality TV can't just walk in on him.
So far, no one going up main stairs as well, so he's pretty comfortable for the time being, but RTV spot that threat, that being Snake still lurking over towards the main staircase, so they're going to start rotating a couple players down below to eventually deal with him, force back Snake, and then maybe have an easier job of isolating Bolo. It's just going to take a lot of time, and once again, resources, more specifically those drones, to set that up. And the drone economy, once again, despite it only being 60 seconds burned away, it's been quite dire and achieved a beautiful run out. It kills Rice, and across the map, Merc wins his one against Hat, and now your 2 huge utility operators are completely flattened. More specifically, your only hard breacher for a trophy attack.
And Achieved was just kind of chilling in the corner by the hatch window in Master, so not a lot of info there for Reality TV. Now they've got to try and hunt down this roamer, of which they also have no info. Snake's gonna light up Giddy, but end up losing the fight. So RTV get 1 back. It costs a chunk of HP off of Giddy, with the man advantage now slightly more manageable. They only trail by 1. Mr. B is still outside study, droning through for his team, trying to create some sort of opening they could use to their advantage. The nade almost does just that, but instead it's the peek from Tristan. Achieved swings a little bit too wide and gets his head cut off for it.
And Mr. B, still being outside, maybe he'll want to be the person to rotate around in a master, but being the case player, that could be a huge risk, so instead he bands up with his teammates to maybe just have an extra gun. Those 3 stun grenades can create a lot of space to get into the bomb site, and now there's info being gathered with this Gemini. They know that statuary is, for the most part, fairly clear. There's someone over by that triple wall, but it might be easier just to deal with Statue itself rather than Gasher, who's playing close with a shotgun, despite him being so low in HP.
It might look like that's exactly what they plan on doing with this shotgun. It's such a dangerous fight for this attack to take, but if they pre-fire him, Gasher really won't be able to do anything on such low HP. Still some indecision for Reality TV, deciding where exactly they want to push. Finally, Mr. B works his way in and is cut down by Merc, but there's an instant refrag, followed by a team kill. Tristan removes Giddy, and with it, any hope of winning the round. The impact finishes him, and TSM take 2 in a row.
And what we both mentioned now during the broadcast, the info denial for TSM has been so impactful just to set up those entries early around. We talked about how effective TSM can play when they're in the correct mindset, when they have the right momentum against a team. And starting out with 2 opening gunfight wins, I mean, that's a perfect way to set the tempo. You've got an instant 5-on-3 and no map control for Reality TV. That's almost the perfect scenario in an early game round for your defensive half. Not only that, but again, just general lack of info. It forced RTV to waste even more time in the mid-round to then double-check to see where the roamers could be playing at, if they've all fallen back. Not only that, but towards the end round as well, they just played a really good defensive anchor, being super passive. Merc was just holding an anti-flash position, waiting for Mr. B to use all of his util, then he swings, he gets a free 1-for-1, and TSM is instantly there to trade. I mean, just the discipline that we're seeing by TSM, it's tenfold.
Pro League discipline, as they say. Now they work on to dining, looking to complete that perfect site rotation. Bolo flexing the Mira now with neither of his Black Mirrors placed, interestingly enough. So with him rotating towards AVG, yeah, so they're going to play the whole map. One Black Mirror to assist this study hold. The other Black Mirror likely going to be rotated back towards Trophy Stat, I would have to imagine, unless this is the only mirror they think they need and Bolo's going to play on the roam.
Also, just like we saw earlier for Reality TV, I think it was a practice cast we did, they were just saving the mirror window to see where their opponents were trying to attack from. Maybe that's the idea for Bolo. Yeah, he's just placing it now up on the triple wall, maybe expecting someone to eventually work their way last second over and from Master. But right now, it's kind of an art-focused attack, and the study side more specifically for Reality TV. No initial contact just yet, but you see at least that horizontal roam being alluded to for Reality TV, just waiting for a couple drones to pass by up above, and then maybe testing their luck against Achieve, who probably has a fallback through that hatch drop. It's almost always opened up, so if there's enough pressure put on him, he can just retreat scot-free, just, again, wasting more time against RTV as a minute has already burned away.
Yeah, the roamers are a bit isolated, but like you said, that kind of just reads into the fact that TSM aren't too interested in taking gunfights, more just going to play for shooting drones and falling back in. The good old time waste. A lot of that going to fall on Achieved, holding in Living Room, who's now spotted on the drone. Reinforcements to his aid, so he's just got to worry about a wayward nade, should it come through from Tristan. Otherwise, most of TSM either upstairs or on the site itself. Finally, the nade comes through, but it misses. The angle's being held by Achieved. The other nade, no, actually put away. So Tristan has not sent it through just yet, but Giddy lands in a frost mat. Jumps through that bike window. The finisher being sought out by Gasher. He'll nab it, but Bolo has a follow-up as well. So they get Achieved as the roamer for this opening kill, but it's, all right, 4 kills now in a row in response from TSM. Everybody on Reality TV tries to chime in and ends up paying the price. Gasher 3 kills and TSM 3 rounds.
Even the initial clear onto Achieve, that just took forever. You saw multiple people trying to push in, dealing with this Soul Malusi, and sure, Achieved eventually had died, but then Bolo figured why not just try to retake and just catch Reality TV off guard, and it worked perfectly. Now you've got control back over in Living Room, and there's no one there to really recontest because the rest of RTV are assuming, okay, they're going to get control over in the Living Room. Now they can get the memo wall opened up. They're getting ready to execute, so let's already be over by Laundry to then also help with the execute. So they're really not in a position to retake and then kill Bolo in some sort of way. So the overcommitment there for RTV, it kind of became the final nail in the coffin there in round 3, as TSM were just playing so versatile to see, what RTV were getting ready to do and how they could counteract it at best. The adaptability, something that they've lacked on in previous matches, like the Yangsping Major, for example, it's now become their strength to deal with RTV.
Definitely, and Reality TV are just kind of getting brushed away in most of these clears, not only because it's so slow, because their trade game isn't nearly as strong as we've seen it in the past, and especially up against SSG. I mean, Mr. B and Hat still both on 0 kills after quite the heroics in the previous match. But Amaru Lion Blitz, they're pulling out all the stops now. Blitz likely going to push his way into Study. Though the Amaru has a couple different options. He could go 90 window, he could go Study Hatch, he could go Skull, as we saw earlier actually.
Yeah, by Mirage.
But he's droning it out. He sees it's clear. He's just going to make his way through. Almost catches Gasher off guard. But Mr. B leads things off with the blitz, the kill on Bolo. A follow-up, actually, a TK from Merc as he attempts to kill Rice. Finally, he'll do so.
Gasher.
Mr. B's got him flashed. He's got him dead to rights. He's in the site, getting the plant down. What an opener from the attack. He's on Pulse, though. And it seems like he's aware of it. They'll get off that plant, they catch the Pulse, they catch Achieved, and Reality TV off the back of the Blitz take their first point.
And luckily with the aggressive play for Reality TV only taking a couple of seconds, they still had enough drones to actually get the info they needed to enter the building and take a few gunfights. Luckily, I guess there was just no one initially there to push away Mr. B from just walking up into top main. Maybe just not enough aggression over by the study side. So he kind of walks in, takes a free 1-for-1 as you had the Amaru already up 90. So no one is there to once again assist the player by main stairs. So that small bit of coordination really went a long way, despite the Amaru not even getting a kill. Just having 90 control, that is a really important part of the map to guarantee that your top main player doesn't get wide swung by someone and you just lose all that map control you were working for like a minute 30 usually. So with RTV then getting site control and having everyone basically just on not flank watch, but just watching the rotates that the defense could try to go for when going back up above, it was more than enough to finally get around on the board. And funny enough, if it worked for Mirage, why not Reality TV try, you know?
And it's really good they finally got around back because they went down 4-0. That is really dire circumstances. So they finally get one back. They kind of stem the bleeding, ensure that TSM don't have complete control over the momentum anymore. Now we look to attack Trophy. Mr. B donning the Thatcher since he's been left up, trying to duo with Rice, deal with the Cade claws that are going to be inevitably defending the Master Triple. Hat once again on this Flores that we haven't seen a ton of use so far, mainly just because the last time Hat played it, he died almost instantly.
Let's hope for Hat's sake he can remain alive a little bit longer in round number 5, especially with such an important operator as the Flores. A lot of that utility burn to deal with the ADSs. You've got deployable shields and bulletproof cameras you might want to destroy. And I believe Hat, looking to see if there's any more valuable utility he can break with that Terror Drone, spots out an ADS and shield. A little more impactful than just one ADS. And I think he caught the Cade Claw too. Yeah, so a very valuable Terror Drone sails by into the bomb site. And now Gasher, well, he's probably going to wait to hear the audio call that Excar's charge before he throws his another Electro Claw. He'll probably now do that, so he might be able to trick the wall. But in the background, Giddy also scores an entry kill. So, Reality TV, a fantastic start. Not only getting triple opened up, but also making it a 5-on-4.
Indeed, that might be one of the best Rotera drones, or one of the most useful, singular Rotera drones I've ever seen. They do have to worry about Achieved, though, slinking down in the basement, calling info for his team almost constantly and can play for the C4 later in this round. Reality TV, though, don't look like they're either aware of it or they're just simply not concerned as more and more Flores drones continue to funnel in. They see Gasher trapped in the corner, force him out, but he's able to get away. No one capitalizing thus far. Minute 15 now remaining. We already talked about the wall being breached, but they don't have control of Astro just yet. But with the kill onto Gasher, it could herald this attack.
Say Bolo is still playing over by the rotate. Now there's no one on that Astro window, so Bolo can be a little more aggressive as well, and I don't think there's anyone playing underneath, so it still seems to be a bit of a funnel here for RTV, but they're just sailing it into the bomb site and trying to get the plant down, but where's the coverage?
I mean, it seems to be there. They didn't even need it. Mr. B gets off the plant but dies. Tristan has a response to ensure we're still in a 2 versus 2. Bolo's also really low. The C4 does a lot of damage. And there's the finisher onto Hat. Rice has now been cleaned up. And Tristan's alone in the 1 versus 2. But do they know where he is? They have a slight idea. And Bolo finally comes in after Snake clears the other bathroom position. A great attempt from Reality TV. It looked to be in their favor. But TSM, a brilliant retake.
And it wasn't necessarily the lack of coverage to get the diffuser down. That was completely fine. Mr. B had enough space made where he could get in the bomb site and plant default on statue. It was the coverage to stop TSM from getting back site control. That was the bigger issue, because with that lack of players still alive, or at the very least gun up, if TSM are able to coordinate and then start actively poking at the people that are still in Master and who aren't really set up to hold a meaningful post plan, especially after Mr. B died, because he's basically a Hail Mary getting that diffuser down, there's no way he's getting out of the bomb site. He has to hope he can get gun up and take another gunfight and maybe bring somebody down with him, because TSM are finding a trade on that guy, even if Mr. B wins a kill or gets a kill, wins a gunfight, pardon. So after Mr. B dies and after TSM get back the man advantage, playing for that retake becomes very clear cut, and RTV just don't have enough resources to cover that diffuser. They try to scamper away. Maybe they can go outside, waste even more time on that diffuser and hope for the best. They're not even allotted that saving grace. And RTV, kind of similar to what Mirage did all the way back on Oregon, they're going to take a tactical timeout on the last round of this first half, hoping they can get maybe just a somewhat default 2-4 split and just hope that their defensive rounds go really well. But I mean, if we see TSM similar to what they did in Oregon, if we end up seeing them get a 5-1 split, Villa might just be over before we really know it, Harrison.
And it would certainly not bode well for Reality TV, not just because they got swamped on the first half of this map, but also because, like we said, now this is their map pick, and they kind of need to win it with their history on Bank. I mean, they lost it dominantly to Aerial Arise. Bank is certainly not a bad map for TSM either. We'll have to see how this round goes with RTV bringing a buck now. That's going to be Hat, so they are going to have emphasis on that top floor, taking that control. Something that they've kind of struggled with. TSM's roams have been really good so far. And it's not that Reality TV have been losing all the gunfights on the roam. I mean, there have been cases of that, but it's also just been this lackluster speed. RTV are typically a really fast team, and they are on top of their trades, but neither of those things have been present so far.
And usually we talk about the entries for RTV, how they just love to get in the opening engagement at random points in time. And sure, winning the entry hasn't been a major issue, but needing to back it up with a trade, that's been the more important part. We saw how effective Reality TV were, especially in the mid-game, playing for one-on-one picks or just going for trades in general for their SSG match. That was beautifully done. But in terms of orchestration for winning those opening gunfights or getting trades, besides, that right there, it's been pretty lackluster. But luckily this time around, you actually have Tristan winning a pretty solid 1-4 against Bolo, who's been contending quite well against RTV in this first half, and it seems like they're still just full sail ahead, looking to start breaking down some of those key barriers and probably getting the single pantry wall opened up. Mr. B is going to hop into the building too. He is really committing to getting these destroyed.
He does not care, and he's just going to... Whoa! It looked like he was trying to take the fight, but hops down the hatch instead. It was really funny, bring up the entry gauge. I think in the first map that they won, pretty dominantly too against SSG, they were like 2-7 in entry engagements. Like, they were not doing so well at all. But again, it's that trade game that they're known for that really carries them through. But now with Mr. B dead, because he hopped into Pantry solo, there was no one really there to help him. I don't really know what the plan was for Mr. B, but he's dead now. Now, at the very least, Reality TV don't have to worry about anyone on the top floor. Should Hat get in, he's got plenty of time to work that vert.
Not really too sure what the idea is next for RTV as well. They've got two vertical players, but one is in the basement. So is it going to be just Hat working vertical? I would assume it's going to be that. Rice seems to be up above with him, maybe helping with a bit of information or just another soul up above, while Tristan is waiting. No, they're still just committing to this linear take, which they still haven't opened up that single wall because no one has destroyed the mute jammer. Maybe that was the idea of Mr. B. He needed to get aggressive, break those Kibas so the mute jammer could be destroyed because they've got no EMPs. But because that failed, Reality TV, they don't have a lot of options. Luckily, they're getting some vertical down with Giddy now being up above. He did the full mile lap around, but TSM really aren't engaging in any of these angles.
And now Rice is down to dead, so they can't open the single wall anymore. Yeah, Merc with a big play to take case control and put his team in a 4 versus 3, leading into the last 20 seconds. There is not a lot of time at all remaining for RTV to try and get something going. Tristan making his way through painting, looking to find some sort of opening, but Hat finds no success on his avenue. Giddy gets the refrag on Snake, but without case control, this site presence means absolutely nothing. Giddy slapped down, Tristan's out of time, and TSM take a 5-1 half.
And I've got to say, for Reality TV, not bringing any kind of EMP device or not having a bunch of frags they can spend up to remove that mute jammer, I feel like that was just a major oversight. And just not having that kind of utility really backfired because, like we both talked about, Mr. B had to commit his life to then hopping into the building, hoping to break those Kibas, not dying the entire time, and then breaking the mute jammer so his ace can get the wall opened up. And that's just a small step to your overall execute. You obviously don't want to all just funnel in through pantry room. You are just asking to lose the round if you do that. So you have to still rotate at some point in the round, gather info, get vertical on the top floor, and then rotate some of those people up above to go either laundry room into the single door, get people over by Memo, maybe even a guy, you know, from Brown Stairs or Asher to go in through China if you have the luxury of doing that, enough players alive. So reality TV just focusing so much on one minute point of that round, I think that's what did them in. If they just either gave up on pantry and just did something more impactful on the round, or just brought the right operators, maybe it could have been a 2-4 split. But with that not happening, TSM just capitalized on the fact that they were just being fed bodies for free with everyone committing so much to just pantry.
Absolutely, and now RTV have to go huge on their defense if they want any hope of winning this map, and if there is any hope, it's likely going to come in overtime. Losing a 5-1 half like that, very rarely do we ever see a flawless 6-0 straight after, so I mean, rarely do we even see overtime. So Reality TV have a ton of work ahead of them. Luckily, with such a dominant defensive half, every Reality TV fan is going to hope it's just as dominant for them. That's not how you want to start. Merc, playing on the closet window, cuts down Tristan for our leadoff kill and silences the Wamai fairly early on.
A lot of utility just off the board, especially now that the Warden has also fallen. So you've got some Kibas, maybe a Banshee here and there, and well, just kidding,
Wow.
Your Kibas are gone too. Sorry for jinxing it, Giddy. Well, now you've got Rice and Mr. B. Don't get me wrong, RTV are great at working picks in the mid-round, but to this degree, against one of the best teams in North America, I might need to get a rain check on that statement. So this might just be match point potentially, and they almost make it a 5v1. That nade was just hairs away from killing Mr. B.
And now he's going to swing in with low HP up against Merc, who ends up dying thanks to Rice. So Reality TV get a kill back. There's still 4 more to go, and Mr. B's very lit up. He just swings in up against Snake as he tries to take top red. Odd decision from Mr. B, and Rice now 1 HP. Sends a gas canister the way of Bar Hall so we can isolate the 1v1 up against Snake, but the longer Snake waits here, the more his team is going to be able to support him, and Rice has only 1 gas canister remaining and a whole minute for the attack to play with, and he's not even going to have a chance to throw it. Bolo silences him, and it's a 6-1 advantage for TSM.
This is just a brutal way to start your best of 3. And like we've both mentioned, then you have Bank to look forward to. I've seen Reality TV cook up on Bank, don't get me wrong, but TSM, I mean, Bank is a solid map for them. Clearly Villa is too, because they're going to town against RTV. They are spotting out isolated roamers that might be just overstaying their welcome, not falling away at the correct time, so they win the opening gunfight. Hat wasn't even like trying to work a refrag. Someone just exposed his position in Trophy, and he just became a deer in headlights. Now he's dead. And eventually you saw Reality TV trying to work for picks in the mid-round, but TSM were just, I don't even know what to say. They were just so TSM. There really is no better way to put it. They were just simply walking at Reality TV and just having such consistent gunners, were able to win those 50-50 gunfights, no sweat. RTV just needed to know when to hit the brakes, or when to just put the car in reverse, because they should have, I guess, been falling back much earlier than what they were attempting for, because again, TSM, they are no slouches in the kill department. They will punish you if you overextend and walk into them, which it costed Mirage plenty of rounds in their best of 3, and it's potentially costing an entire map for Reality TV, it seems.
Absolutely. They'll try AVG again. They'll run it back, playing pretty much the same strategy. Tristan and Hat off-site, with Rice and Mr. B on. Giddy serving as kind of the mediator between the two. And by the way, there is an update for the off-stream game. SSG won their defensive half on Bank 5-1.
Wow.
So echoing shades of here. The Blitz looking to run on through, but there's a crossfire, and Rice is defending his own main stairs. Snake, the next to hit the floor. And that's not how the Blitz rush is supposed to go. RTV battle back with fervor. So at the very least, they'll take a round back here, barring unforeseen circumstances.
Thankfully not going to be completely silenced in this second half.
Heck?
Potentially finding one round. Yeah, I like the idea, but yeah, they only detonate on soft walling or any kind of main wall, something destructible. Stairs, sadly, not being destructible, the Selma will not detonate. Therefore, the barbed wire remains intact. But, you know, gotta commend it, I suppose. Worth a shot, right? Siege is a pretty buggy game sometimes, but Reality TV, they're just playing to their advantage. They've got the case in a pretty comfortable spot. They're gonna just play keep away on that and force TSM to make a move in a 5 versus 2. So at least they'll get 2 rounds on the board, but they are going to need a lot more if they even want overtime, let alone a map 1 win on their selection of Villa.
Yeah, right after this one, it's got to be 4 in a row, which is no easy task for any team. Achieved is trying to get sneaky in the basement, but he's spotted out. I mean, TSM got a minute to play with. It's not unwinnable. It's just whether or not Reality TV give them the opportunities they're looking for, and if they do it quickly. Now a minute left. Merc is still hanging outside the study balk. So TSM are trying to work a 1-in-1 pinch. There are now 2 players from RTV tasked with holding down 90. It's both Giddy and Tristan. EE1D goes out. Now 1 remaining from Merc, but there's no real push off of it because, again, don't have any real opportunities. I mean, there's even a guy on the shield on maps. It's Hat, who's just swinging on through. This, though, could be a round changer, and Merc gets 3! Line him up and knock him down! All headshots! And just like that, Reality TV might be shaking in their boots a little bit. 2 versus 2, we've equalized. Achieve challenging the shield, eats some shots from Hat. As the Warden now turns around, trying to defend his own window. He's got to take one of these engagements. 1 down, the second to go. Hat saves the round.
Thankfully, Merc being so low in HP, 1 bullet is all that it took, and then the quick wraparound to eliminate the ace. By the skin of their teeth, Reality TV almost throw away a 5v2 advantage and bring it right back with 1 clear and clinical play. But as we both discussed, they're still 6-2 down. 1 simple execute for TSM wraps it up on Villa, and then we go right to bank. Trophy room now in play for Reality TV with a big emphasis on that piece of utility. You've got Surya Gates, Castle Barricades, on top of the Azamis too, which I don't think have been very impactful so far in this half for Reality TV. But, you know, it's only been 2 rounds in play so far, so maybe here on Trophy they could be a little more helpful in the mid to late round, especially when you have, again, some extra shields in play, more utility that will have to be dealt with via explosives, which in total for TSM could maybe be 6 nades. They've got a Glaz, Iana, and Sledge, and so far no one's repicked until I mention it. I'm so distraught at this. Oh, they're just getting rid of all their grenades. Go figure. All of them! At least Snake goes back to Iana. Thank you,
This is
Snake.
quite the lineup.
He's really looking out for me. I appreciate this.
Capitao and Sens on the board for TSM.
This is wild, though.
Plenty of visual cover for this attack. I gotta know where Bolo's gonna be. I gotta know. We never see Sense. Oh, well, I shouldn't say never. We almost never see Sense. I think the only operator played less than Sense is Grim. But I think we see Fuse more than Sense. So this is a trip. Plus, they don't have glass.
That is true. So the RRU projectors, I mean, yeah, sure, they can provide coverage, but no one can see through them. I mean, at least there's no Warden, so it's not like a standoff between the Sens gadget. But yeah, Fuse specifically, I was trying to make a point about it. Gasher has, you know, on record, try to bring out the Fuse, even on TSM, so that's not too shocking. And yeah, it's hard to beat the number 0 in terms of how much Grim has been played in competitive. I think that's still been a whopping 0 overall in the T2 or T1 scene, but yes, I digress. TSM now entering the building, and so far, nothing really to scoff at so far. They've got info. There's a guy over by Aviator, and I can imagine they assume someone's a bit closer towards the bar side as well. Oh my god, the RRU to let them walk in the building. Wow, that is genius, and it was done perfectly.
Bolo slaps down Mr. B.
Oh my
Snake a
God.
follow-up onto Rice. And that leaves Hat on an island, figuring, how the hell am I going to deal with this? Luckily, Bolo goes down. Almost another for Giddy as he taps away at the doorway, deals some damage to Gasher. But Bolo gets away. It's a down but no kill, and wow! Gasher smokes Giddy through the ROU, leaving Tristan and Hat alone on the roam. And yeah, it's over. TSM seemingly taking Villa with ease.
God, I love pro players. That was just the most creative way to do a steady overtake on Trophy. I mean, the ROU top main, now the AV guy cannot see when they're pushing in, so that's map control for TSM. They take full advantage of that, and they even have the 90 rotate accounted for. So if you want to like try